Peace and blessings, family. That's on once again is yours truly, Bakari John Bull. Been a very, very, very busy week for us. I definitely didn't want to miss this program on this evening, so I'm jumping on real quick just to discuss uh, some concerns I have in regards to the community. For those who do not know, down in Florida, Ron DeSantis has passed the African studies, but it's a catch, of course. It's always a catch when it comes to those who have a colonized mind and wants to keep our people oppressed and doesn't want the truth to be told. And so, with that being said, I'm gonna play this clip so you can see I'm not making this up. Um, you know, it's sad when you have these brainwashed, colonized people talking about slavery benefited us. And this is the sad part about brainwashing because it has these people out of their mind. Okay. Slavery did not benefit us. This is the reason why a lot of us are in the situation that we're in mentally, financially. Okay. And it's due to colonization. This is the reason why a lot of us don't have confidence in who and what we are. And a lot of us run away from that because of us being enslaved. Okay. A lot of us don't even know exactly where we come from because of us being enslaved. And so many people want to say, let's move on from this. How can you move on from something that has happened to us for centuries that is still affecting us today? And you have to also understand that the colonizer is always countering whatever is in our benefit. If there's not nothing written, they're going to do their best to counter it. Okay, look at what happened with affirmative action. Okay, just last year in 2022, we had the Crown Act passed in regards to discrimination. One thing that we have to understand, even though it may not be as intense racism as it was during the time of our ancestors, doesn't mean that it's not still happening today. Okay, the shooting in Buffalo, need I remind you about that? Okay, it wasn't that long ago with the George Floyd situation. It wasn't that long ago with what happened with Trayvon Martin. Okay, and even though the elderly lady confessed and said what she did to Emmett Till, she still didn't get apprehended. So let us be very clear that these things are still happening today. Okay. And how are we going to get rid of it? Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Our identity crisis, how we're going to get rid of it after I play this short video clip.
3,000 teachers and also other education professionals. What are you hearing from them now with these standards passed?
Well, we've been hearing for a while from them because last year, again, Florida passed the Stop Woke Act. They also had a civics training that they did for teachers. And we were hearing from them about how it seemed like they were trying to rewrite the history, leave things out, talking about how the founding fathers in our country fought against slavery, but not talking about how they own slaves. So teachers are very concerned with what's happening and how we're narrowing the curriculum. They're also very concerned that many of our students are no longer seeing themselves in their learning. And that is really, really important for kids to learn. It's one of those foundational skills that one of those foundational needs that kids have, which is to see themselves in their learning and how their learning connects to them. So when you say don't teach current events, when you say limit what kids can see and learn, that's a real problem for educators.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? What are the long-term effects that you are concerned about with children learning history the way it is outlined in these standards?
Again, there's that old adage, if we don't learn from history, we're destined to repeat it. So if you are selecting what you can and can't learn in our schools, as the governor is doing right now for his own political ambitions, then kids are missing out on that education they deserve and need. If they don't learn about how slavery really came about in this country and how there were attempts to continue slavery even after the Emancipation Proclamation, if they don't learn about how there was separate and unequal in our schools, which Brown versus the Board of Education reversed and changed, and how states like Florida and other states fought against desegregation, then we're destined to repeat that. And what's concerning is we're seeming like we're going back to 1950 rather than going ahead to 2050 and the great prosperity ahead of us.
Carlee Russell's.
So my big brother Carlos, he said, go back to that. He said Black unity would destroy white supremacy. And that is a fact. That truly is a fact. It would do it in our minds. But they have to stop teaching these things. And one thing we have to understand is that racism is a learned behavior. Okay. None of us is born looking at one another in that light. First of all, I must admit the only reason why I use Black is because most of us identify with that. All right. But the truth of the matter is it's a construct of the colonizer. Okay. Technically, we're not that. You understand what I'm saying? And so with that being said, the reason why we look at ourselves the way we do is because of what we've been programmed to believe about ourselves. Okay, just like the inventions that we invented, okay, they stole our patents and they want to discredit us for our intellect. So why is it that many of us don't think that we're capable of accomplishing certain things? Is because we have not been exposed to the greatness that we have within us. Okay, a lot of us don't know our history. And see, family, this is the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying today about history, because so many of us lack confidence because we don't know our accomplishments. And so many of us, we are very upset, we're angry, we are frustrated because a lot of us feel lost. Okay, a lot of us feel helpless, right? And so one might think, well, how can I be proud of being this when it seems like we're always getting the short end of the stick? Listen and understand this, that you are, and see, this is the reason why it's so important for empowerment speaking. Some people don't think that it has any place in the revolution. It absolutely does. This is the reason why I get involved in empowerment speaking, to empower us mentally so that we can understand that we are people of greatness and that we come from greatness. And I know it's hard to see that when our ancestors rather were enslaved. Okay. And so I know it's difficult to see that, okay, when you're constantly being oppressed, when you're constantly giving crumbs, when there's only a handful of us that are actually creating and transferring wealth in business outside of sports. Okay. And let me just say it overall, entertainment, right? That's really what makes the most millionaires for African people, okay, in America, is entertainment. Okay. And so we feel like that's all we're here for is that we're only good enough to just entertain, nothing else. And this is the reason why us learning our history is so important, understanding the contributions that we made in science, understanding the contributions that we have contributed to far as the inventions that have made our lives better. Okay. Like, you know, the street lights, the gas mask, you understand, you know, understanding like dealing with the almanac, dealing with the eclipses with Benjamin Banneker. You understand? Just really getting into the education piece. Let me see my brother saying something here. Ultra rich. There are some hidden millionaires. Absolutely. You know what, man? That's actually confirmation, family. That's actually confirmation. And the reason why that's confirmation, because I lie not, man. I was literally talking to my wife about some millionaires people don't even know about. And you know why? Society teaches you that when you're blessed at that level, you know, you have to flaunt it. And this is the problem with the Africans in America. Okay? We've been programmed to think that if you don't have the high-end vehicles, if you don't have the popular name brand clothing, if you're not dripped in gold and diamonds, if you're not wearing red bottoms or Polo or Gucci or Louis Vuitton, you understand that you're a nobody. And unfortunately, in the hip hop culture, unfortunately, they throw shots at each other like that. You understand? When they get to the arguments, they start talking about, oh, I'm making more money than you. I got more sales than you. See, it's all ego. And see, this ego tripping has us constantly tripping. Okay? Pride does go before destruction and the haughty spirit before fall. I agree, because that's what's happening to us. You understand? Now, I love our elder, Dapper Dan, and I'm not throwing shots at him. Let me be very clear. Okay? Because he's a staple in hip hop fashion. Right? But you know what they did? You know, sometimes we have such a dream to where we're willing to compromise to be recognized. Now check this out. I want you all to hear me very clearly. And that's so true. Negative ego is a downfall. Absolutely. I totally agree. I want you guys to hear me now. Now, this is just, I'm just mentioning him because I want you to hear me out and think about what I'm saying. You know, not throwing shots at the elder. I love the elder. You know, I have a great deal of respect for the elder. Do you know how many people know Dapper Dan? I'm talking about in the hip hop world, in the hip hop culture. Do you know the pioneers that has made their mark in hip hop? How many of them went to him? I mean, Rakim went to him. Salt-N-Pepa went to him. Just to name a few. Just those two right there. Anybody that knows about hip hop history, hip hop culture, know about Rakim and Salt-N-Pepa. Okay? And he did their jackets. Now, could you imagine? Now, think about this. I want y'all to think about this, right? Now, listen, I'm 46 years old. I'll be 47. So I'm just going to talk about some things I know about as far as hip hop culture. And trust me, it ties into the identity crisis. I promise you that. Now, I want you to think about this right here, right? He has a lot of pull in the hip hop community. A lot of respect. Even, you know, Puff Daddy, you know what I'm saying, even know him. You know what I'm saying, even linked up with him in Harlem. Because he's from Harlem too, right? Now you got icons like Puff Daddy that know him. You know, Rakim that know him. Salt and Pepper that know him, right? He got a lot of clout. MC Light, them, all of them know about this man. You understand what I'm saying? Even KRS-One. KRS-One. You understand what I'm saying? He did stuff for like the Jungle Brothers. You understand? I'm talking about names like that, icons in hip hop culture in my time who paved the way for the younger generation to do what they're doing, right? Now, here's the point I'm making, family. Now, all these individuals know him. He could have came up with his own clothing line, had a hip hop artist rock his design. Now, don't tell me it can't be done, because that's what Run DMC did. A lot of people don't want to talk about Run DMC, but Run DMC was like one of the first ones that started the brand, rocking the brands like that and blowing the brands up, because they had a song out called My Adidas. When Run them came out, started talking about My Adidas, those Adidas sneakers, and I noticed because I grew up during this era, was flying off the shelf. I was even rocking them. They said no shoestrings in them. My Adidas, standing on 25th Street, funky dressed in fresh coat on my feet with no shoestrings in them. Right? Right? You know what I'm saying? So they even came out, Adidas came out with a sneaker where they had no shoestrings in them and put Run DMC, you know, on those sneakers. They had their own Adidas. You understand? Just from Run them saying My Adidas, the sales went through the roof. What am I saying? I'm saying that he didn't need to sell out the Gucci, because remember what Gucci did to us. But see, here it is though, right? Here it is. We talk all this talk about what European people do to us, but then we go right back to them. That's why they don't take us serious. They already know. That's why they can say and do whatever they want to say and do. You understand? And they know they got us so brainwashed. They know they got us looking to them like they're our savior, because they gave us a European God. They gave us a European savior. Okay? Why is it that every policy that's written in legislation that affects us as a people in this nation was written by a European hand? Can you not see the handwriting on the wall? How many of us own factories? It's not because we don't have the resources. We're being put in this situation for us to feel like we're helpless. You understand? And the truth is, we got more power than what we think. It was just like our ancestors on the plantation, right? They really actually outnumbered the colonizer. But the colonizer had programmed them to be afraid. So the fear conquered logic. And so in our situation, low self-esteem, unfortunately, is conquering our logic. A lot of us have big enough platforms that we can start our own social media platforms like this, like Facebook, like YouTube. And the statement is, unfortunately, our people tend to look down on us when we don't wear those brands. And that's a fact. And we're programmed to be this way. You understand what I'm saying? It's all engineering, right? And we have to get broken free from this. But a lot of African people run away from this dialogue. A lot of us, we don't want to talk about this. We don't want to be honest about these things. A lot of us define ourselves by materialistic things because we've been programmed to do that. We've been programmed to think that we're nothing without it. And so, unfortunately, we hide behind brands, okay? We hide behind our clothes. We hide behind our cars. We hide behind our money. You understand? You know, we hide behind our jewelry. We hide behind our status. Okay. And the sad part is that we think we're nothing without it. And I've literally heard people say, oh, he or she is just a nobody. Why do they say this? Because they don't have none of the above what I've mentioned. They're a good person. They do good by their neighbor. They do community work. They fight for the liberation of our people. But all because they don't fall within those categories. All because they're not millionaires. All because they're not well known. All because their name are not in lights. They often are overlooked. Why? Because we've been programmed to categorize people. Why? Because even in society you have it. What? You have the wealthy, you have the middle class, right? Right? So even in society, we're being measured by a class. If you're not upper and middle, then what that makes you? Lower, right? So now we look lowly down upon ourselves. We think that we're low and we're not worth anything because of that. And that's true. We've been emasculated. Says black on black racial profiling and discrimination. Exactly. So what we have to do is we have to get our identity back because we hide behind the Europeans' culture. A lot of us, we define as far as mannerisms go, what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. A lot of us don't recognize we're defining it according to European culture. Most of us don't even have cultural names. Most of us. Why is that? And see, we don't recognize that we're still under the influence of colonization because if a sister wear her natural hair, I've literally seen an interview of the other sister saying that's inappropriate. I seen it. I watched it. Okay. If we don't pronounce a word a certain way, you got a fellow African person looking at you like you're uneducated. Because you didn't pronounce that English word appropriately. And so some of us don't want to even interact with each other if we're not talking European, acting European, dressing European. And some of us won't even be the face of our business. This is how you know we got identity crisis. I've been in these clubhouse streets. We have businesses, but we're the face of all of our businesses. We put our own people on the cars of our business. And for those who don't want to do business, you just don't want to do business. See, a lot of us don't want to do that because it's more challenging for those of us who have ethnic pride. They told us not to name our children certain names because it will hinder the child in the future. Absolutely. And my queen, she telling the truth because that's exactly what I heard a mother say of a son that I was mentoring. She literally said to me that she didn't want to give them an African name because they would be able to identify that her sons are African. Now, you know, see, this is what I'm saying. See, this is how colonization do us. It robs us of our logic. You don't think they're going to find that out during the interview? You see how colonization robs us of our logic? Let me tell you how colonization robs us of our logic, because we praise the European ethnic group like they're the epitome of morality. If that is the case, then why were we made to work for free? If that is the case, then why did they rape our women? If that is the case, then why are we always fighting to be freely ourselves? Why did the Crown Act just get passed last year? And why is it that Ron DeSantis in Florida and a lot of these Republican individuals, you know what I'm saying, are always trying to bring us back into the days of the Jim Crow? Why is that? Why did the insurrection happen? But these are the same people that we praise and that we think is better than us. In fact, what we overlook is the fact that they raised their children to hate us, but we're always talking about how good they are, how good parents they are. Oh, because they send their child and children to college. And what we overlook is morality. See, the African in America has been brainwashed to just love money. We think that the money is the answer to every situation, every problem, because that's all we talk about. Oh, they leave them. Oh, they leave their children an inheritance. We even base building wealth off of their families. Huh? Right? Even as a motivational speaker, if you don't speak in a certain mannerism, then it's not appropriate. But I'm so grateful for big brother E.T. Eric Thomas, Eric Thomas, the hip hop teacher, and showed us you could be authentically yourself and become a multimillionaire. I'm just saying, that brother is historic in a motivational space. Nobody has done what Eric Thomas has done as I have seen yet. He paved the way for a lot of us, but I don't believe that brother get enough credit for what he done. This man speak to Fortune 500 companies with this on and this on. A fitted and a t-shirt. Nobody has done what this man has done, broken through ceilings like that I'm aware of to date. Didn't compromise who and what he is, but still accomplished his goal. Why did I use him as an example? To show you that you can do the same thing. That's right. That you could be authentically yourself. And I'm not talking about unprofessional, because understand that being unprofessional is not the way to go. Okay. There should be a professional side of you, a business side of you when you're interacting, doing business. Okay. Then there should be a side of you when you're just kicking it with your homeboys and your homegirls or with your family. That's still you, You're not being fake like some of us think. Oh, they just fronting. Oh, you know what I'm saying? No. There's a time and a place for everything. Again, identity crisis. We don't know how to turn it off and on. We get so carried away because we're so used to somebody oppressing us to where we don't even recognize we really trying to prove something to ourselves. So we end up putting ourselves in a bad business position because we call it trying to keep it real. See, I'm not talking about that. When you're conducting business, it should be business. Even if you're talking to somebody that look like you, business is business. And so what we got to do is be purged in our consciousness from the lies that we have been taught about ourselves, even our spirituality. Why is this important? Because our spirituality shows us our true identity, and our true identity is not our flesh. I'm going to say it again. Our spirituality shows us our true identity, and it is not our flesh. It is our spiritual being. What you look at in the mirror is not really you. What's inside of you is actually you. Because if your spirit separates from your body will drop to the floor, which means that what you're looking in the mirror at is not really you. That's just, this body is just a vehicle to house your spiritual being. That's another one of our problems. We've been detached from, we've been cut off from our spirituality. And that's another reason why a lot of us are out of our mind, because our spirituality teaches us, contrary to popular belief, morals. To have Iwa Pele, gentle character. To have Iwa Riri, Yoruba word for good character. It teaches us to be people of solid morals. And if we had that, then guess what? A lot of us would not compromise to be recognized. We would not accept these gangster rap contracts. And our sisters wouldn't be accepting, okay, business deals to be rump shaking and to be twerking. We have an identity crisis. And see, that's what the problem is. We really don't know who and what we are, because of colonization has robbed us of our identity of being people of royalty. People who come from good families, but because of our families have been dysfunctional because of drugs and alcoholism, and because of our mental issues, it's so hard for us to see past that. That's the reason why we don't look at ourselves as something, because of what we see. And we don't see anything in our community for us to be proud of. So we end up looking outside of ourselves because we have been disconnected with the original African woman and man, the way we originally carried ourselves, okay, pre-colonization. And what we see today is post-colonization. This is not the way we really are as a people. Robbing, shooting, killing, stealing, hating on each other, slandering each other. You have a bunch of desperate people who want to make a living, and they put us all in the same area, and it's strategic. It's for us to kill ourselves. But we don't want to deal with that. We're too busy trying to be famous. Listen, family, freedom is not about fame, it's about freedom. The revolution, rather, is not about fame, it's about freedom. But a lot of us, we're too busy trying to be liked. We're too busy trying to get lovers and likes, and that's programming too. We're so busy, oh, algorithm and oh, click on the like and click on the share and everything. Listen, I feel like Brother Chronix. I do it for the love. I don't do it for the likes. Because little do we know that the Honorable Minister Malcolm X really wasn't loved and liked by many. Yeah. Yeah, because he spoke the truth and he called people out. He wasn't loved and liked by many. And he definitely wasn't loved and liked by the colonizer. That's why they killed him. Because the colonizer don't want you to wake up to the realization of who and what you are mentally, because then they can't control you anymore. And so we run away from this. We just want to, kumbaya, my Lord, kumbaya. No, listen, let me tell you how you really know somebody really about this life. Just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. Because you'll find out that those who say that they're really about the truth, they really are not about that life, because they're not willing to lay down their life so they can have life. See, our ancestors was persecuted. Our ancestors was thrown in jail. Some of our ancestors was killed for talking the way that I'm talking right now. And another reason why a lot of us are not willing to do this, because we're scared. Men, women, and our children are suffering under the hand of our enemy because we are too afraid. Do you know our ancestors, when they did a real boycott? See, a lot of us, we don't do no real boycotts these days. We don't do no real, because it's a fad. It's a fad. And if I'm lying, why do we still wear Gucci? Oh, because they use Dapper Dan as a pawn. And I love our elder, and I'm not throwing shots at our elder. What I'm saying to you is that they use us as pawns to throw us off. Oh, they really are about African people. Oh, they really do care. Oh, let's give them a deal. They're only doing that for their pockets. Wake up, African people. They're only doing it for their pockets. And they're using our elder as a pawn. You know why? Because he wanted to be well known for fashion. And he always had a dream of being a high-end fashion line. Well, guess what? If we would help our own, then the king wouldn't feel that way. These hip-hop artists be still rocking Gucci, still going to the Gucci store. In fact, I think it was even an interview with Mayweather's when they approached him coming out of Gucci, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's coming out of the Gucci store, coming out of somewhere, and they was talking to him about what was going on. I do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? I live the way I want to live. I wear what I want to wear. See, that's the problem. See, we got an individual mindset, and that's the reason why. See, identity crisis. We're one. But see, because of us thinking divided, that's the reason why we don't stand. Because one principle in Kwanzaa, hold on. One in the Nguzo Saba is Ujima. And you know what it says? Collective work and responsibility. You know what it says? It says to build and maintain our community together. Ujima, U-J-I-M-A. U-J-I-M-A. Collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. So whenever something happens, oh no, that's not my problem. Oh no, that's their problem. And this is the reason why the colonizer keeps winning, because we don't have a unified mindset. We don't have a Ujamaa mindset. We're never above our people, no matter how much money we have. Cooperative economics. To build and maintain our stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. Nia, purpose. To make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Kaumba, to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. Umoja, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation. Kuji Chagalia, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Imani, to build with all, to believe with all of our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. That's the Nguzo Saba. That's the 7 principles. And this is what we're supposed to govern our lives by on a daily basis. And when we turn back to this type of teaching, this is African teaching. See, this is African teaching. All those principles are Swahili. That's an African teaching. That's love teaching. That's not hate teaching. That's love teaching. And we have to get back to that. And I guarantee you, we'll start winning once we're restored in our minds and we start loving ourselves as individuals, and then we can love each other as a collective. See, we always say black love, and as soon as we say black love, you know what we think about? We think about, most of us think about what? Marriage. But guess what? I see it differently. It's for us to love ourselves as individuals and to love ourselves as a collective. Now, I know that's a color, but it's just so you can understand what we're talking about as a people, to love ourselves. And the only way we can love ourselves is to detox our minds from the lies that we have been told by the colonizer about us for centuries, and they're still continuing to try that to push that agenda to date. And understand that affirmative action, that attack on it, is not just going to stop at the collegiate level. They're going to try to stop it at a federal level. Because they don't like the fact that they just can't walk up on us anymore like they used to and just call us a nigger without them receiving punishment, without catching these hands. See, they don't like that. They don't like to see us get rich, because when we get wealthy, then we don't need them. Then we can say whatever. You know why? Because they're not paying our bills. We're our people. We can depend on our people to buy our products and to pay for our services. See, that's why they don't want us independent, because then we could stand up to them and tell them to kiss where the sun don't shine. You understand? That's why they don't want us free. That's why they don't want us empowered. They love for us to beg They get a kick out of us begging them. It's just like during the slavery days. Yes, sir, master. No, sir, master. I, master. And we allow them to keep kicking us around, just like Grant Cardone when he said what he said. And you still got these sellout Negroes that's so inclined and wanting to be popular to where they justify, oh, he shouldn't. Now, I've been in these clubhouse streets and I heard these Negroes say these things. Oh, he said he want to have the card to be able to say, he want to be able to call us the N-word, the nigger word. Oh, he want to get in, and you got Negroes that love fame so much, that love money so much, to where they overlook what he said so they could be in his network, so they could be in his circle. And you got some sellout Negroes that have turned their back on their own people so they can be blessed by them. I'm going to say it the way it is. That's just what it is. That's exactly what it is. We compromise to be recognized. We love money too much. We love fame too much. We have sold our souls to make money, to be famous, to be invited on these major platforms. See, that's the price for freedom. That's the price of revolution, which some of you not willing to take, and your grandchildren are going to keep going to these schools where they're indoctrinating them with these lies about slavery benefited us. Oh, we learned a trade during slavery when we already came over here as craftsmen. When our women already knew how to sew and we already knew agriculture. And me being Mende, they took our ancestors and put us in the rice fields. They strategically took us from West Africa, those of us who was in Gabon and those of us who were in Sierra Leone, okay, and took us from there and brought us over here to specifically work their fields because we already had the skill set. And our people was used to working in that heat. Look at their skin. They couldn't take working out there in the sun like that. They'll burn up. But some of you praise them. You praise the same one that raped your ancestors, that bombed your ancestors, that killed your ancestors, and to this day discriminate against you and just throw you crumbs and you go licking them up like a dog. Like a dog sitting at their master table waiting to feed them. Where is your dignity at? Do you love your children? Do you love your grandchildren? If you do, why aren't y'all fighting for them? Why aren't you fighting for your children and your grandchildren like our ancestors did for you? They seen you afar off. They didn't want you to be born into colonization like them. And so they laid down their lives. They said, give us liberty or give us death. They said no more. The Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his life so you could be free. Malcolm X gave his life so you could be free. Marcus Garvey gave his life so you could be free. Rosa Parks, she stood up, yeah, she was tired. But all the civil rights leaders, Betty Shabazz laid down her life so you could be free. Coretta Scott King laid down her life so you could be free. So we could be free. Now what you gonna do about it? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Love you all. Pray you have a blessed rest of your week. And hopefully something was said today to move your spirit, for you not to be selfish, but for you to make that selfless sacrifice and think about the future of us as a people. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We have enough money with athletes. We have enough money with entertainers to start our own, even with the awards. We're begging, oh, acknowledge us. Why do you keep begging for a racist to acknowledge you? They will never, they rather see you in a casket. And this is how you know we have an identity crisis. We want them to acknowledge us so bad. If it's not an Oscar, I guess it don't count. If it's not an Emmy, I guess it don't count, huh? Because we're so busy begging for crumbs at their table when we got millions of dollars that we could bring together and create our own TV networks, our own radio stations, okay, create our own award ceremonies. And this is how you know we have an identity problem, because we keep sitting around waiting for them to acknowledge our work, our body of work. Keep selling our soul with these radio broadcasts, with gangster rap. Coming to our community with these contracts for gangster rap. Coming to our community with these contracts for our women to be rump shakers and twerkers and dressing like they're going on a strip pole. And our brothers walking around where you can see dog on there the crack of their behind. And degrading our women. And our women degrading themselves. Because you dancing to the lyrics in the song when it says the B word. It's time to wake up, man. We have been their puppets for too long. They're monetizing on our pain. They're prospering from our pain. And we keep letting them use us. And then when we talk like this, we so messed up in our head to where we start talking about, oh, you're hating. We can't even recognize that we're just trying to wake each other up. We're so blind, we can't even recognize that. They're using you. You're rapping about the same thing that we get put in jail for. And what is the benefit of calling our women female dogs and calling them whores? Please, somebody show me where the benefit of that morally, how that's going to uplift our people morally. Please show me. Please show me how drug dealing, guns being pointed. You got teenage boys on YouTube, 18, 19, with Uzis and military arsenals. But yet, if they catch them with it, they'll arrest them. But we're too blind to see that. We're too blind to see that. And half of us, we live in government housing. Government housing. I'm going to say it again. Government housing. I know I said I was getting ready, but you know, it just came to me. I got to touch on this. Government housing. So who you think is the one that's in control of government housing. But yet we got roaches and rats, and it's not because people living filthy. I grew up in the hood. I grew up in the projects. I grew up in the projects in Rochester, New York. It was called Genesee Parkway. They leveled it out now, and they got a new home development, housing development over there. Some of my friends did not live like that at all. Their house was clean. I know I used to stay the night. And they used to stay the night at my house. My mother never had our house looking like that, ever. But it's dilapidated living conditions, and we're paying our taxes, and our people are still living in a slum. And this is why we're so depressed. We're not getting paid enough wages. Our people are struggling. We've been put in these holes. And then when an African man and woman, we so messed up, when an African man and woman that look like you is teaching you how to build wealth, some of us, we so messed up, we don't want to hear. We just want to hear the arguing all day. We want to hear the rumors, and we want to hear about what sister, what type of shoes she had on, what type of purse Michelle Obama is wearing, and you know, oh, Kamala got pearls and Chucks on, and we're so concerned about that, to where a lot of us is overlooking that we need to be educated and we need to learn how to create and transfer wealth. And a lot of us are doing GoFundMes, and we should have life insurance. But you know why some of us don't have it? Do you know that some of us can't get life insurance if we have a felony? So half of our men can't even get life insurance if they got a felony. So how then can they really leave wealth? If they can't get life insurance and then they don't have the jobs. And I'm an entrepreneur. You just don't jump out there and start making millions of dollars overnight. It don't work like that. So they're depressed, stressed out, feeling powerless, feeling less than a man, being emasculated. And this is the reason why those of us who have these millions, this is the reason why we need to start creating jobs and putting jobs in our community. McDonald's does it. Burger King does it. Walmart does it. Why can't we come together and start our own franchises? We got the money. We just need to start making it happen. Peace, love, power. Thank you for tuning in. Talk to y'all soon. Remember, we do these programs every Sunday and Thursday at 6:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, like I said, we was real busy, so you know, forgive our tardiness. That's what come along being an entrepreneur, because that's what we was doing. We had to work these packages, send these packages out. All right. And we're in the retail. Okay, not the other packages. Okay, let's be clear. All right. All right. You have a blessed rest of your week, and may your weekend be the same, family.